welcome into the Vegas Squares Picks and Chatter edition of our podcast. This is our NFL picks for week number 11 in the NFL. Always a fun adventure when professional football gets to grace us. We're sitting here in studio watching college football because it is Saturday. One screen we've got Temple in South Florida, not much of a fun contest. The other screen we've got a dead heat battle between Alabama and the Citadel.
And the game did not just begin. It's like halfway through the second quarter, yeah.
Second quarter, and it's 7-7. Nevertheless, we are here to do some NFL picks podcast. Got a full studio. Token Tony on my right, who just took a swig right as I introduced him.
Absolutely. I've got to drink my coffee.
And
I'm weak when I'm this full.
Now he's full of words. And Spike McAwesome on our left.
What the hell happened last week? I go out of town, the entire podcast falls apart. There was no Picks and Chatter podcast. And then the recap episode, you couldn't even get this with a Token to come in the studio.
I was feeling like garbage.
Fake Token to show up.
Fake Token had to defend both of your all's picks.
I did my best.
Yeah.
And I won last week.
Yeah, you got a whole point.
Yes.
We'll go over that in a second. But the aforementioned Fake Token, also known as Tony Johnson, is in studio with us. He's sitting on one of the Barstool Barca loungers.
You know that someone's listening to this podcast now, and the final score was 55-7 in the Alabama Citadel game, and they don't know what we're even talking about.
Yeah, they're going, what are they talking about? That game was never close.
Yeah.
Oh, we are here as a time capsule to tell you that this game was deadlocked in the middle of the second quarter. Anyways, we want to thank our sponsors, 12 Ounce Sports Radio, obviously, for putting us on. VGK Pop Sockets and Chai Poker, who you will hear from here very shortly with all of the details. We've tried our best to provide all the information that we have been given. But nevertheless, Ben and the guys at Chai Poker will be providing us with the full Monty of information regarding the South Point Charity Tournament benefiting the Boys and Girls Clubs of Southern Nevada. Token, what's going on, man? It's week 11. What matchup, just before we break it down, are you most interested in watching this weekend in the NFL?
You're assuming he's actually looked at the matchups.
Obviously,
I love throwing curveballs.
Obviously, the Monday night football game, the Chiefs at the Rams. That was supposed to happen in Mexico City. That got moved, but obviously the most enticing game on the slate. So,
Spike, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs and the Rams is obviously the obvious choice for Monday night, but for Sunday, I think I'm looking at that Houston and Washington game. Houston winners the 6th straight. Washington still very strong in the NFC East. I think this is going to be a really good matchup to check out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like you said, you know, the low-hanging fruit is KC and Los Angeles, but you're right. You got Minnesota and Chicago on Sunday night, a big division battle. Philly and New Orleans, while Philly's not, you know, Philly like they were last year, that's still the potential's still there against a team in New Orleans who's been running over everyone. And you're right, actually a sneaky good matchup is that Houston-Washington game as well. And then you have Dallas and Atlanta, for me, effectively eliminates one of those teams from the playoffs, unless they tie.
Yeah. Another one that affects my division is Minnesota and Chicago. And
Just said that. But cool. Yeah, good talk. All right, well, let's go ahead and start with the picks. Or let's go ahead and we missed. Life kind of got in the way. Spike went to Boston. I got sick. Tony had car trouble, and life just kind of got in the way last week of our Picks and Chatter podcast. So, without further ado, you're actually getting a 2-week updated total at this point. Spike, let's break it down here. How's our season-long bet going?
Yeah, so for those of you just joining us, our season-long bet is that we are taking one side of every Sunday and Monday game that happens in the NFL. If you get it right, you get a point. You get it wrong, you lose a point. You have a lock of the week, which is plus or minus 3. And then you have a blind bet for those games where you just don't know what's going to happen. You get 2 points if you get it right, nothing if you get it wrong. Through week 10, the totals right now, I am in dead last place, although I've had the best week of the three of us for 2 weeks in a row. I'm still in dead last.
Every cloud has a silver lining.
Still in dead last with 9 points, with plenty of weeks to go.
Hey, you're in the black now, so.
That's true. I am in the positive, which is nice. Token is sitting in the middle with 20 points, and Aaron currently has 27 points.
Yes, but I did lose one last week, so that hurts a little bit. But nevertheless, I'm ready to throw a wrinkle at you guys if you're ready for this.
Do it.
All right, how do you feel? Since I've had 2 straight negative weeks, I'm going to let Tony Johnson make my picks this week.
I'm fine with it. I don't care.
I'm totally okay with it. I'm trying to think if there's a way, like, if he gets you X number of points or more, then we can give him a bonus, and if not, then he loses a point.
I like it.
Well, you got 30 seconds. Figure something out. So we got to get into the game.
What do we say?
6 points?
Whoa.
Well, yeah, let's say...
Oh, I thought I got a bonus of 6 points. I'm like, whoa.
No,
That's
no.
No.
No, yeah, let's say if he gets...
If he gets 6 points before the Monday night game when we do our recap show.
6 points before the Monday night game.
He gets a bonus.
If you're positive 6, you get bonus 1. If not, you lose 1.
Then 6 would be a push.
How do we feel about that, Tony?
I'm going to tank this thing like the New York Knicks.
Nice!
You're a fuckhead.
Yes!
Well,
Love it.
All right. Well, all right. That's fine. That's fair.
All right.
Whatever.
That's fair.
I don't care.
Lock in and load it.
I've spent $100 on less before. All right. So let's, without further ado, we've got. Let's start with the first game here that I see on my docket, and that is Tennessee at Indianapolis. Tennessee is playing good football right now after the last 2 weeks. Obviously, remember, if you're fresh in your mind, the drubbing of the Patriots last week, 34-10. Nevertheless, they go on the road into the Drum, and they are a dog. Indianapolis is a 1.5-point favorite. Current total is 50.5. Let's start with my pick, Tony Johnson.
Interesting game here. Actually, I like what both teams are doing in this one. Tennessee really starting to roll. Marcus Mariota, I know we talked last week in the one-on-one podcast there where he's really kind of becoming a very good quarterback. That Monday night game where they converted like 70% of those third downs against Dallas was, I think, pretty meaningful. Tennessee's also improved their pass defense over the last few weeks. They're now number 6 in the NFL. So it's just pretty hard to pick against them. I like what Indy's doing as well, but I'm going to stick with this Tennessee train here, and I will take Tennessee with the points.
Fuck, I already disagree with my guy one.
There it is. Told you I'm tanking.
Spike.
I think part of the problem with Tennessee and the betting that's coming in on them, because 56% of the money is coming in on Tennessee, is that they're kind of living prisoner of the moment given the way that they just played against the Patriots. A lot of people forgetting that Mike Vrabel, a longtime Patriot, knew that team, knew that system, knew that scheme, and knew how to get in Tom Brady's face. Tennessee blitzed the Patriots more than they had ever seen this year, and Brady was on his ass more times than I care to count. I'm taking Indy minus the 1.5. I think this is a pretty safe bet for the Colts right here, and Captain Andrew Luck.
Yeah, I also agree with that statement, Spike. I think Indy desperately needs the win. They play hard at home. I think they easily cover. They might even win this game by a full touchdown.
Fair enough. Actually, I was going to see, you talked about Captain Andrew Luck. I'm trying to see what the latest entry was. You guys want me to read it?
Sure. Go for it, yeah.
All right. Dearest mother, I have received your care package of floured hedgehog thighs and hardened raccoon cakes. Scouts report the 10C Titans inched closer. Our unit continues preparations in the hope of obtaining yet another victory. The men, as they say, are ready. The 10C Titans.
10C.
Wow. 10C Titans. Gonna be tough. All right, we talked about this, obviously, just a few minutes ago, and like I said, in my opinion, the loser of this game, especially if it's Atlanta, is completely done. And I think Dallas, even if they lose this game, would have a long road to hoe. They are in a much weaker conference, even though Washington is, 6-3 at this point. If they lose, they would become almost 3 games fully back in that spot. Nevertheless, Atlanta at home, always tough. A 3-point favorite. Total is 49.5. In a dome with Atlanta, this seems like a low total, but nevertheless, you've got 2 teams. Dallas obviously came off that Sunday night victory against the Eagles that no one really saw coming, and except me, sorry. And Atlanta obviously is coming off getting beat by the Browns. So one team's riding high, one team's looking to rebound. Start with my pick again.
Sorry here. Just getting back. Yes. Already struggling. No, but Dallas.
He ran down to make a sandwich real quick.
I was looking at this one. This is one of the tougher ones I thought I remember seeing on the docket here. Just looking at the injuries on their offensive line, they've got Frederick, I think, who's been ruled out of the game, and 2 others that are questionable. And that seems to be the hallmark of this team. If they can move people off the line and Zeke can have a high-quality game, then Dallas seems to have a pretty good chance to win. But if that doesn't happen, they have almost 0% chance. And I just don't want to be betting on a team most of the time that has to do something exact in order to win a game. And again, as you correctly said, Aaron, Atlanta really needs, I think, a win just like Dallas here to sort of save the season or at least have a chance. I'm expecting this to be a higher scoring game, but I want to take the better quarterback in the end here. So I'm going to be on Atlanta minus. Were you -3?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Atlanta -3.
So, you're right. This is another game where I've been kind of going back and forth on this one too. I think in the end, the explosive ability of Zeke and of Amari Cooper and some of the weapons for Dallas are better in total than outside of Julio Jones for Atlanta. So I think in this spot, Dallas plus the 3 makes more sense. Plus, I think that they are mentally in a better state right now than Atlanta. You know, we saw Jerry Jones after the last game kind of in the locker room hooting and hollering and this, that, and the other thing. And meanwhile, Atlanta, you know, they're after that loss to Cleveland just didn't look like the Atlanta team that we saw a couple of years ago. The heads were down, you know, people were upset and everything else. So I think mental space, Dallas is in a better spot. Getting 3 points, I'm going to take Dallas plus the 3 here.
I'm going to fade your pick, sir. I like the Falcons in this spot. I think Cowboys are just so beat up, especially on defense. Falcons are able to control this game, control momentum, control the clock, move forward with this. I don't like the -3, but I will take Atlanta on the money line.
I found one consensus agreement with my proxy there. So,
All right.
What's the deal? Is it worth the same amount of points, money line versus point spread, or how do you get
correct.
that?
Money line and point spread are you have to pick a lock, which is 3 points either way. A blind bet is 2 points if you win, no points if you lose. You also have to take at least 1 total and at least 1 money line.
Okay, so you should essentially, if you're betting on if you want a favorite, you shouldn't really be laying the points ever. You should just take it on money line, right? If it's worth the same points.
Yeah, and this is something that Aaron and I have kind of talked about off air. That next year when we do this, we're going to have to adjust the scoring to reflect that more.
I don't like any of you guys enough to keep you back next year. I'm going to get new people.
Oh, that's fair.
New interns.
My name is Ed.
Look for my new podcast. Look for my new podcast.
Spike new podcast. Picks and Chatters.
The Vegas Rectangles.
Circle gets the square. All right, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, 2 teams trending in different directions as well. It feels like that's kind of a theme. Pittsburgh is a 5-point road favorite here. If Jacksonville has any chance of salvaging their season, which is very slim right now, they got to beat Pittsburgh in this spot. Pittsburgh 6-2-1. Finally have put the Le'Veon Bell shadow behind them. James Conner's playing lights out. They seem like they're rolling on all cylinders, and Jacksonville seems like it's doing quite the opposite at this point. Even though they did get Leonard Fournette back last week, he had a halfway decent game, couple of touchdowns. But I assume that Coach Marrone is probably going to try to lean on a heavy dose of Leonard Fournette this week. Nevertheless, they're still in a big hole, even at home. But there is enough talent on this team, in my opinion, to play close. Nevertheless, Pittsburgh -5, total 46.5 right now. Proxy.
Yeah, it's. I saw it just sort of how you described it. That while Jacksonville is relatively eliminated from this thing, they still have a very good pass defense, and they can still obviously play with this team. They have a talented team, especially on defense. So I didn't really know where to go at all with this, especially with Pittsburgh rolling so well right now. That we'll use the blind bet here, and we'll take the blind bet under 46.5. I think this thing will be pretty close and pretty well drawn out as a game. So we'll take the blind bet under 46.5.
Interesting. I
1 and 2 with my proxy. Although I wouldn't have taken. Well, no,
he
that's not fair.
used it as a blind bet. So
Well,
I'll
no,
give him
in
that.
fairness, I would not have taken the total in this game. So that's not kind of a 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's fair. I think, and I say this as a Patriots homer and somebody that's been watching the New England team since the early 80s. Pittsburgh right now is the best team in the AFC. This game is not close. Jacksonville is fucking terrible. Give me Pittsburgh minus the 5. I'd take Pittsburgh minus 11.5 at this point if you gave it to me. But
Pittsburgh's better than Kansas City?
You want
yeah.
you want
You want to change your pick next to tomorrow's podcast?
well, you want to give him 11.5 and change his points?
Pittsburgh minus 11.5 for 3 points?
no, not 3.
Okay, so it's 5, so I'll double it. We'll go Pittsburgh minus 10 for 2 points.
Pittsburgh minus 10 for 2 points? All right, I'll take that.
And only 1 point if you lose.
All right.
All right, sounds good with me.
I just gave him back a point, and he took a point away.
Yeah, that was weird.
I know, he took it.
I just let you have it. Yeah.
Snacks.
All
All right. Toki.
Yeah. I think both teams are able to move the ball forward, and I think Pittsburgh does it
I
better.
would hope that that's their intention, is to move the ball forward. You can't be an NFL team if you can't move. Oh, the Bills.
This total seems too high in a way as well as too low in a way.
Please explain. What are you drinking? What is in this cup?
We've
Coffee.
only got like an hour for this podcast.
Yeah, you know what?
We can't let him explain
We'll
the whole
make that
thing.
a snippet.
Okay,
We'll make that a snippet.
so my pick is Pittsburgh minus 5 in this spot. I think they either get a last-second touchdown or they're up by 2 scores going in with Jacksonville trying to keep it close.
Can we make that a hashtag? Too high in the way and too low in the way. All right, Cincinnati-Baltimore, another game. I'm not going to keep telling you the trend. Baltimore, what do we know as far as, do we have any information on who's starting this game at this point?
I heard last night it is RG3.
Ew.
Something on RotoWire, one of their main fantasy writers has mentioned it's probably going to be RG3 as well, but I don't think it's been actually verbatim said.
So this is one game that I kind of looked at when I was setting up the spreadsheet for this week. This game has been off the board until just this morning. I finally see a line of Baltimore minus 4.
And that's what I see here. The total's still off the board according to covers in this game. So your only options right now are the spread and the money line.
Who has the odds? Are we offshore somewhere? So I don't see any.
No,
Las
go
Vegas
to
book.
checkcovers.com and then go to the scores and matchups part of the NFL.
Okay, yeah. So you're getting it off.
Whatever covers gets, that's what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
Okay.
They use
Vegas lines.
They use Vegas as well as some offshore.
They mix it up a little bit. I think I thought these were Westgate lines, but I
Either
could be wrong.
Carbon Sports or usports.eu because I don't see anything on. I mean, that's fine. We can we can do it, but
Let's
Okay.
see on.
Well, okay. How do you want to do
Superbook
this?
if there's a line.
When the Packers were off the board, was there a?
We have had a couple of games off the board earlier in the
line.
season. It's been a while since we've done it, but we've had games where we've just said off the board and moved on to the next one.
Well, that's whatever 2 out of 3 people say.
I have a pick for this game. If we're
All right, let's
doing
roll. Let's
against
make a
the
pick.
spread, so.
Baltimore minus the 4. Proxy.
wow.
I
Well,
was not prepared for this.
I was absolutely not prepared. I just assumed that we were going to be
That's
touching.
cool.
but,
Your first 3 picks suck anyway, so go ahead.
Oh, you
fair.
agreed with one of his 3 picks, so.
It's true.
So there's no total. We're using just 4.
Yeah.
And if it's going to be likely Griffin, I'm just going to take the points here. I'm going to take Cincy plus 4 against RG3. I don't know what else to do. That's fine. Done. Just put Cincy in there. I don't know. I didn't really handicap the game very much, but we'll take Cincy.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly the right side to take is Cincy plus the 4 because first of all, even with Flacco or Jackson or Griffin, Cincinnati should win this game outright. But I'm taking Cincy plus the 4 in this one.
Do we have a consensus pick yet?
We not yet this week.
Let's make it 1 already.
All right, we lost last week, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
So that basically nullifies the game as meaningful.
Yeah. So we'd spent all that time trying to decide if we're going to pick it, and then we nullified the game. Awesome.
Where would you have been non-proxy?
Baltimore money line.
I thought you said you were done riding the Baltimore train.
Yeah, but Flacco's gone.
Oh, okay.
This
Flacco is so fucking
is an
bad.
RG3 regime.
Nice.
Nice.
All right. Finally, we get our first game where two teams are already out of pretty much the playoffs, so I don't have to worry about the team who loses is probably done. These teams are two teams that are, barring catastrophic miracles, are done. That's the Bucks and the Giants. This game opened up at a pick'em in the Meadowlands. It has now moved to 2.5 in favor of the G-Men. I have to imagine that's probably based on Monday Night Football's game. Nevertheless, 52.5 is the current the current total. 3-6 Tampa Bay starting Fitzmagic again versus 2-7 starting Dirtface. I mean Eli Manning. Proxy.
So I'm.
That's got to be better than fake token, right? Proxy?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just rolling with the Giants here simply because Tampa Bay has a ton of injuries on defense. Already 5 starters have been ruled out, possibly a few more by game time.
Their defense is terrible.
Their defense is bad, but I'm pretty sure that they're even worse when you get behind the typical ones. So and they still remain a one-dimensional offense.
Fair.
Clearly, they can't run the ball, and I don't believe the Giants think that they're dead, especially in this division. Now, I mean, I believe they are, but I don't think they yet think that in their minds. And being the better overall team, I'm just going to be on the Giants here. So we'll lay the -2.
Do you think Saban's just toying with these guys right now?
Definitely not.
And what is the reason that with going into halftime they are up by only 3 against a FCS military institution?
For sure not. If he's playing Tua in this game, I'm shocked anyway.
All right, nevertheless,
Yeah.
Token. Who did you pick, Proxy?
The Giants.
Yeah, he took the Giants.
Is it -2? What was the line?
2.5. Yeah.
All right, then just money line the Giants then. Because I guess we can do money lines, right?
You can.
Okay.
I thought we could only do one money line.
No, you could do multiple.
You're required to do one, but you can do multiple.
Oh, I thought, dude, I've gone 11.
That's a weird rule.
I've gone 10 weeks thinking you could only do one money line.
Oh, really?
Is that well, we can do that then. That's fine. I find it's interesting that you really shouldn't be taking favorites then unless you money
We
line
just
it.
made this up in week 2 as we went along.
Oh, okay, fair enough. That's fine.
Sometimes I will take a money line dog in addition to a money line.
Should we just do one? You want to do one max? I have one other one that I definitely want to use. So you guys tell me what you want.
Should we just alter this in week 12? Only
I mean,
one.
I took 2 money
let's-
lines last week. So.
All right,
fine,
going forward next week.
Oh, because how many money lines does this fucker have?
No, I only have one so far. And
All right, you can only take multiple money lines if you have a dog,
okay.
and that should
Oh,
be
okay.
that should be worth 2 points if you take a money line dog of greater than
3.
130.
I like it.
Oh, yeah.
I know we're adding shit.
Interesting. Oh, it's an interesting one though.
I mean, most of us don't have the actual money line in front of us as we're doing this.
All right,
I mean,
fair.
I could
We'll
always pull
perfect
it
this next year. Fuck
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Starting in week 12, though, only one money line favorite you can take.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
One money line favorite, but you can take money line dogs.
All right. Yeah, you can take all the money line dogs you want, which would be stupid in our competition here.
Yes.
Spike, did you make your pick on this game already?
You're up.
Oh, I'm up. Give me the Giants minus the 2.5. Tampa Bay's just so beat up right now. Giants, they have Barkley that can just tear it up as well as Odell. I mean, I don't see Tampa Bay keeping it neck and neck with them.
Fucking Citadel is tied with Alabama at
Going to halftime.
This is fantastic.
Wow.
I couldn't pick a better way to run a podcast right now.
Yeah,
All right.
good thing we moved it to this morning.
Spike alike.
Yeah. If Token hadn't taken the money line, we'd be consensus on this one. I'm taking the Giants minus the 2.5. I'm actually taking it as a blind bet, though.
Wait, who took money line?
This one.
That's fake token. That's proxy.
Oh, yeah, sorry, fake Token. Whatever.
Too many Tonys.
Yeah.
I know. You need to change your name to, Felipe.
All right, Paco. So,
Felipe's got his Def Leppard shirt on.
yeah, no, Giants minus 2.5. And I think at this point it's Eli Manning playing pure spite and pure will just to try to keep his job because too many people are saying that he could get traded, he could get cut. They're done with him. He's not good enough anymore. Blah, blah, blah. I think at this point he's trying to prove himself. Maybe too little, too late, but I think it's enough that they can beat Tampa Bay pretty easily here.
Fair enough. Proxy and I missed another pick.
You'd been on Tampa?
Yes.
Wow.
He likes the Fitz.
I love the
magic
Fitz
trick.
magic.
Okay.
All right, you talked about this one earlier in the intro. Houston and Washington is the sneaky good, in my opinion, sneaky good game of the week. 6-3, 6-3 versus 6-3 versus 6-3, 3-2 at home, 3-2 on the road, 3-2 against the spread at home for Washington, 3-2 against the spread on the road for
Something's got to give.
Yeah, exactly. They're just Washington does it with defense. It's amazing to watch them play. Then they picked up HaHa Clinton-Dix and got even better. But nevertheless, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Houston has won 6 in a row.
That's correct.
So
3 of those by 3 points or less.
A win's a win. They don't have to impress the playoff committee. Nevertheless, they are a 3-point favorite on the road in FedEx Field. So that's a kind of a fun one. Nevertheless, 42.5 is the total. Excuse me, burped. Still riding this Citadel, Alabama wave. Proxy, Houston and Washington.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Very, very tough game here. This is one of those I would definitely not want to be betting on, and would like to have another blind bet if that was possible. But I'm unsure about where Washington's going to be in this game. They have a big stretch upcoming with Dallas and Philly on the road the next 2 games after this. I'm not necessarily saying they're going to be looking ahead per se, but it's got to be weighing on the mind that this is a huge, huge stretch for them, and Houston being a non-conference opponent doesn't bring the same thought, I would say. So I don't know. Both teams playing well, but I really like what both teams are doing defensively more than anything else. I know it's a low number, but I'm just going to take the under anyway. So we're going to go with the under 42.5.
I would not have been on the total. So we are on a.
I'm all over the map.
You're okay.
All over the map.
We're all good with this one. No, you're fine. I'm just saying we don't disagree because I'm cool with under 42.5.
Okay.
Felipe. Token Felipe. It's the only Felipe I know. Frank's, I guess.
No, I'm going to use this as my blind bet. I'm going to take Washington plus the points. I think they are the better team, especially even at home. They will be able to contain the Texans as well as keep their passing to a minimum. And Houston might be able to stop them minimally, but I think Adrian Peterson will have a good game against their defense.
Yeah, this is the kind of game that I thought initially the line made a lot of sense, but then if you think you get 3 points for home field advantage, and if this game were played in Houston, the lines are essentially saying that Houston would be a 9-point favorite, and I think that that's just too much. Houston may or may not be the better team in this spot. I don't really know. But I think at home, Washington plus the 3 just makes so much more sense. I'm with Felipe on this. I'm taking Washington plus the 3.
Right on. Yeah, I would have been on Washington plus.
I think that seems like the obvious pick. I got really scared by them being that big of a dog at home. I thought that was really weird.
I think super good defense against quarterback. Oh. But I like the total under 42.5 as well. 17-14, maybe in that range.
Yep.
All right, Carolina and Detroit. 4.5-point favorites are the Panthers on the road. I think collectively as a unit, we've all given up on trying to figure out the Lions this year. 49.5 is the total, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Carrion's not playing this game?
I believe Carrion's out, and I know for sure Marvin Jones is out.
Yeah, so that puts a terrible team in even bigger of a hole. The only good thing they probably got going for them this weekend is they get to sleep in their own bed. Nevertheless, 4.5-point Carolina favorite, 49.5. Felipe, you're up.
I am not going to pick the fucking Lions in this game.
Which means they're going to cover.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm going to take Carolina money line in this spot. I think Carolina wins this game. I'm not sure if they cover the 4.5, though. They probably will, but just because my team just is pure garbage.
Same way, based on our rules of this contest here, I will be on the Carolina money line as well. As you guys correctly said, Detroit's sort of in free fall here. Lots of injuries. I think Carolina's underrated anyway. And
yeah, they're really underrated in that Pittsburgh game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're still 6-3. They've still come back again with multiple scores behind in fourth quarters. They've done that twice this year, especially at Philly. I thought that was impressive. So they're a pretty good team.
We do not have consensus on this game. I actually thought about taking Carolina either with the points or money line, but I think the line that stands out to me is under the 49.5. Carolina should be able to put up, somewhere between 28 and 35. I just don't know how Detroit scores against this defense, especially with Kerryon Johnson being out. So I think this is one-sided, and I think Carolina wins, but I think the under is the better bet for me here.
Fair enough. All right, fair enough. Denver and the Chargers inside the soccer
Clippers.
stadium. Clippers, yeah, you're right, my bad. Denver and the Clippers. The Clippers coming off of a rather pedestrian win against the Raiders. Denver, I believe, is coming off a rather pedestrian bye week. Both teams kind of going in opposite directions right now. LA needs to win, obviously, to keep pace with Kansas City until their matchup here in a couple weeks. LA is a touchdown favorite at home. 45.5 feels like a low total to me, in my opinion right now. But you've got the Clippers -7 and 45.5 proxy.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the square in this one. I try to be as squareless as possible in these NFL games, but this one, as you said, the total just seems way too low. Denver coming off of a bye. They're much worse on the road, mostly defensively, which I like for playing it over here, and I still think they should be able to score against these said Clippers. Denver is the worst. I said it was the worst 2-1 team I've ever seen back then. They're 1-5 since that proclamation, and I don't see them getting much better, but they should still be able to score, so we'll take the over 45.5.
Hey, in fairness, though, I know Denver sucks, but I have had the best bold prediction come true with Denver's quarterback.
In regards to...
He had thrown an interception in every single game before the last game they played, and I said he will not.
Oh, nice.
And sure enough, he didn't.
Oh, there you go.
Speaking of, Tony, you're going to have to come up with a bold prediction as well that's agreed upon by everybody. Just to give you a heads up.
Okay.
Yeah, worth the extra point.
All right, Denver and the Clippers.
I'm on the Broncos plus the points in this one. I think Chargers do win this game, probably by about a field goal. In my mind, like Tony was saying, Denver's defense lacks a little, as well as the Clippers' defense, and it might almost sound like a basketball game in this spot, and over is good in this game. So, but Denver plus the 7 is my pick. I think Denver either backdoors the cover or just keeps it close, and it's a nail biter, and Chargers game-winning field goal or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know about the 7, which is kind of a weird number for me, so I'm taking the Clippers money line using the exploit that fake token so rightly pointed out here.
How many names does he have in this podcast?
Quite a few. I think we're
Well,
up to
for
3 or 4.
4 people here, we have like 20 different names.
True. Yeah.
I just think this is a spot. Phillip Rivers is having a quietly very, very, very good year. And you're right, Aaron, that they need to keep pace with Kansas City. So I don't know that they can beat the 7, but the Chargers should win no matter what here. I actually meant to call them by the fake name, and I called them by the real name.
It's okay. We forgive you.
Oh, my God. It's too early. I need caffeine.
All right. Let's go to the game. Quickly, let's go by this one, because I have no intention of ever even watching this, much less turning it on TV. Excuse me. Arizona and Oakland. Damn. See, I don't even want to watch it. It chokes me up so much to even talk about it. Two teams with a combined 3 wins and 15 losses.
Oh.
And they have covered 2 spreads this year. Excuse me. Oakland has covered 2 spreads this year.
I know one of them. What's the other one that they covered? I know they beat the Browns.
They covered the Broncos game. Remember the whole
They should have won
fake
that one. too.
FanDuel debacle with the paying out the guy with the 600?
Oh, yeah,
Or 6,000 or whatever?
that's right.
Excuse me. Yeah, Oakland's covered 2 spreads. Arizona actually is pretty decent against the spread, 5-3. Doesn't translate to wins in the win column, which is what they care about. Arizona is a 5.5-point favorite. This number's jumped up 1.5 points since it opened. The total has stayed at 41, which is a relatively low one. But these are 2 teams that don't really matriculate the ball down the field quite as effectively as the 2 teams we'll talk about next. 5.5 points. You look at me baffled, befuddled, confused.
I didn't expect you to use the word matriculate.
You're welcome. Now make your pick.
Under 41, and nobody gives a fuck about this game.
Solid analysis. Felipe.
Stole the words right out of my mouth. I also like Arizona minus the points, but give me the under 41.
The only good thing about this game is I know when to take my nap tomorrow.
That is true.
All right, Proxy.
Well, I usually like to be in the Drek and the muck, and this is no exception. This is my favorite bet of the week. I already have this. Already have it bet and locked in. You knew I'd love this one. Huge fan of.
I think we lost Spike.
I'm not even sure what we're laughing at.
I don't know. I'm not sure either. But
and Proxy's turned the other complete opposite direction. He can't even see us.
Huge fan of Oakland getting the points here. I liked them when they opened at 4, but I waited a little bit just because I was curious to see what would happen. Thought there might be some hate thrown their way, and there was. So we have them here at 5.5. I like this one for a variety of reasons. Arizona's still figuring things out on both sides of the ball, and I like what they're doing with David Johnson now, and even lining him up out at flanker in some spots. And it's just, to me, it's too gadgety, and there's just too much going on. And I like how they're just not playing all that well on both sides. So we're going to
they're not playing well. I love that.
Yeah, no, I mean, but that's pretty important here. If you're going to cover a lot of points, you have to be great at something. Usually, you can kind of dominate a game in some aspect, but I just can't see them doing this at all against Oakland. So I think Oakland's got a pretty good chance to win this game outright, actually. So we'll be on Oakland plus 5.5.
All right, me and Proxy are on that one together. I was with you on the Oakland 5.5. So.
Wow, I thought for sure that was the last time he was ever going to be on the podcast. We're saying this is a game he had already locked in. And
I already knew where he was going on that one once that statement was said.
How'd you know?
Well, on the Picks and Chatter podcast, you're the reason we talk about Liberty.
That's true.
And Duke, actually. But you guys both like Duke.
I smelt the bluff.
All right, from one game that's in the, what did you say, the muck? In the bottom barrels of the basement?
Yep, the muck.
The clearance section of the sports book. To probably, I would say, the game of the week that's not the Sunday or Monday game. Sunday night or Monday game. Philadelphia and New Orleans. New Orleans 7.5-point favorites. Something scares me about that hook, even though they are steamrolling right now. How crazy is that Tampa Bay loss now after you look at everything?
Pretty amazing. Really is.
Crazy to think, huh?
Yeah.
It shows you that, just because you're on paper, Herb Street, better than a team, things don't always work out your way. Philadelphia 4-5, got beat by Dallas. Everybody kind of, the Super Bowl hangover effect, blah, blah, blah. Nevertheless, 7.5, over under 56. Proxy.
Yeah, this one, if based on the rules and how we have it set up, I'm going to go with the lock of the New Orleans money line here. I do think the under 56 is also in play. I think Philly's a little bit of a stronger defense. They're a little bit more motivated and will play better than most people give them credit for. But as you said, New Orleans is just rolling on all cylinders, crushing people. So I'm not going to get in the way of that. So we'll go with the lock of the week, New Orleans money line.
Nailed it.
Nice.
Felipe?
I'm going to take the Saints minus the points in this. I don't like the total in the spot. I feel like it's going to be a trap. Saints minus the points, I think they cruise to an easy, almost 3-score victory in my mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're right. It does. It's all right. Never mind. I'll go ahead.
Well, I was actually about to agree with Felipe here that that a 3-score victory makes sense. I can see it being like 35-21, something like that. But for me, that screams take the under because or 35-14. I was going to say. So for me, that says take the under 56 because we know that New Orleans can put up points. I don't know that Philadelphia can do the same, especially not in the same kinds of bunches that New Orleans can. And I think this is a spot where New Orleans is going to do all of the scoring and not nearly enough to get over that total.
All right, poll time. Over under 43% of the population of Philadelphia Eagles fans calling for Nick Foles to be the starter.
I would say the over.
I didn't realize this was a thing. It's a thing where nobody is behind Carson anymore?
I don't think they're not behind Carson, but it's just like Philly just feels like that team. Even though they're Super Bowl champions.
Change, yeah.
Well, I don't think they're going to make the change. Just point being is that Philly fans turn so fast, and you've got the guy on the bench who won you the Super Bowl last year.
Yeah, they're psychotic over
I know.
Yeah.
They eat horse shit, so, I mean,
Literally, yes.
Yeah, I know. I know. That wasn't a metaphor. All right, we got Sunday Night Football, Minnesota and Chicago battle for division, kind of a stranglehold here. Chicago, part of them's doing with smoke and mirrors. Trubisky is advancing week by week to become a really, really good quarterback in this league, despite having virtually no running game, because thanks to Jordan Howard, who is on my fantasy team, so I know all too well he's not performing very well. They don't really have a running game. And their stable of receivers isn't anybody that you're, probably voting to the Pro Bowl at this point. Nevertheless, you got Minnesota, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they're coming off of a bye week.
I believe that is correct.
5-3-1, traveling into Soldier Field as a 2.5-point dog on Sunday night. 44.5 proxy.
Yep, it's utilizing the bye week here. Hopefully, I've been doing that a few times already this week. I think as you go on later on in the year, having the late bye weeks is really, really beneficial versus earlier in the season. So I do think this will be one of the best games on the slate, and probably likely determines the division winner. These two upcoming games they have against each other, and I really like what Minnesota's defense is doing right now. They're finally starting to roll fully. They're 11th overall in pass, 3rd in rush, and in the top 5 in both those categories just in the last 4 games alone. So Chicago has pretty much done this with turnovers this year. They're leading the league in plus 13 in turnover margin, and I just can't see Minnesota turning the ball over all that much in this game. In fact, maybe not at all. Just can't be sustained to have that kind of margin. So I'm going to be on Minnesota, getting what are we 2 or 2.5? What's the line?
2.5.
2.5.
Minnesota plus 2.5.
Why the funny face, Felipe?
Oh, I'm completely on the other side of this one.
Oh, I feel better about Proxy's pick.
Well, I mean, you bet the Bears on the future bet, right? So I would hope so.
That's me.
They need this one. Oh, no, it's you?
That's me. I got the 6.5.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought it was Token.
I still agree with you with the 2.5, though.
Yeah, I like the Bears minus the points in this one. I almost want to use that for my lock of the week, but I'm saving that for the next game. So,
wow, lock of the week?
No.
Lock of the week on a Monday night game.
That's what I'm doing. I like it.
Wow.
Yeah.
I am going to be flush with points this week.
Man, I got my Monday night pick locked in, and I
Proxy.
don't actually know what to do with this game.
All right, well, you got 18 minutes.
No, I'm not going to. I'll take 30 seconds to try to talk my way through this. I think at the beginning of the year, I was really down on Trubisky, and he's bit me in the ass more times than I care to count.
You guys got a love thing going there?
The flip side is that while Aaron has the over the win total future bet for Chicago, I have under.
So you need them to lose out.
I need them. I need them to lose out, so I need them to pull that. But I don't think I can bet against the Bears at home. So Chicago minus the 2.5. If I had a second blind bet, this would be it. But I'm going to take the Chicago here. I think I like what I've seen out of Trubisky. So fuck it, let's go.
Now, see, I agree with Proxy on the 2.5. I do think the Bears win this game, though, by being down by 2, and Cody Parkey gets to redeem himself by stoinking one off the inside upright, and then it goes in. Game-winning field goal for Cody Parkey. Saves his job.
All
right. So
that's a bold prediction right there, I believe.
Oh yeah, but mine doesn't count. You got to make one, Proxy. But hold on, we got one more game left, and it is the game of the week. I mean, we've been talking about this game for a month now. All roads leading up to it. We talked about this game starting when both teams were 5-0. I mean, both teams are now 9-1. KC lost to New England. LA lost to the Saints. This game is moved, obviously, from Estadio Azteca, or however the hell you say it.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, cool. I nailed it. To the Coliseum, which is almost as old as Estadio Azteca, or maybe even older.
It might be older, yeah.
Nevertheless, before we dive into the game, as far as from the betting angles, what kind of advantage is that? I mean, I understand it was originally labeled as a home game for LA, but moving this game, it had to feel like a little bit of a decided advantage for Kansas City not having to play this game in the Coliseum in front of Rams fans, right? And now that's obviously been flipped the script.
I think the bigger advantage is the altitude, because most people don't realize that Mexico City is
high,
7,500 feet above sea level, so that ball is going to fucking carry. And it's just a matter of the quarterbacks being able to adjust to knowing how far
perception and
knowing how far that ball is going to fly when they really launch it. So I think Not having to worry about that means that Mahomes and Goff can play their game the way that they're used to playing. And I think that is, I don't know quite who that favors, but that's certainly something that to look at. I don't know why Aaron's trying to get...
He's giving me a score update.
I'm telling him to steal a third. We have a bet from our Picks and Chatter podcast in the NCAA. He took Idaho plus 40, and it's currently 49-0 Gators.
So I'm looking good.
And it's still in the first half.
So I still have a chance.
Still alive. Come on, Vandals.
Plus, I think you gave me Gators over the team total of 46, right? Or we talked about it. I don't think
We talked about it. I didn't.
Look at Citadel with the onside kick to start the half.
They covered it!
Looked like they had a chance at it.
I think they got it. They got
They
it.
got it. Oh,
Wow!
this is fantastic. Let's go Bulldogs. I mean, obviously, when you listen to us on 12 ounce, we're gonna be all idiots. They're gonna be like, it was 60-10. What are these guys talking about?
No, I think Citadel at least scores another score in this
Could
game.
you imagine if Citadel wins this game?
Oh, my.
Alabama fans look disgusted.
If Citadel wins this game, they have to fall out of the rankings.
Yes.
Have to fall out of the rankings.
Out of the rankings completely?
No, they won't. But I'm saying they have to.
Yes.
They dropped down to 4.
Yeah, they'll drop down to 3.
You
Watch 'em.
can't be a 51-point favorite and lose. You just can't.
Unless you're UNLV. We didn't get to talk about them in the last podcast, so they got love in this one.
Yeah, we didn't even cover the UNLV Hawaii game, but who cares about that?
That's okay. We're all right with that. All right, nevertheless, let's dive into the betting angles. Rams are 3.5-point favorites now. What were they before? What were they in Mexico City? Did anybody
3.
know?
Yeah, it was close. Something like that.
2.5,
I
3.
think 3 is
Yeah,
right. Yep.
the line
Okay.
really hasn't moved, even though the location did.
All right, so, excuse me. This total opened up at 64 in Mexico City, and then reopened up at, 62?
62 or 62.5 when it got moved to LA. Now it's at 63.
Now it's at 63. All right, 9-1 versus 9-1. I got to hear these locks of the week. Start with you, Spike.
So, when it opened at 63, and it was in Stadio Azteca, whatever the fuck. God, I haven't taken Spanish since high school, so I just butchered that.
Yo soy fiesta. How do you get beat by a team that doesn't even have names on the back of their jersey? Sorry, go ahead.
You think the offensive and defensive players that wear the same numbers have to swap while they're on the sidelines?
Swap jock straps. Like in Waterboy.
So I when the game was in Mexico City, I bet the under, and then it got refunded when the game was moved to LA. And then when it was in LA, I'm still going to bet the under on this one, but that's not my lock of the week. What I'm looking at here is the Rams in their victories have not been nearly as impressive as Kansas City has been in their victories. So Kansas City plus a 3.5 for me is an easy lock of the week. I think
Nice.
this is one, especially when you start looking at the against the spread records. Kansas City's 8-2, the Rams are 4-6. Even though both of these teams are 9-1, not super happy with the way that the Rams have been winning these games. They're not as dominant as Kansas City. So I think KC right here plus a 3.5 lock of the week.
Bulldogs with the lead, and
Citadel is false start. Damn it. That's fine. Make it a 45-yard attempt.
he's got the leg for it.
All right, let's hear your lock of the week.
All right, my lock of the week. I like the under as well as you, Spike, but that's not my pick. My lock of the week is Rams money line.
Ooh.
I think the Rams easily control this game. It could be a blowout, but I don't know if Gurley and all of them care about the spread. So to protect
We know
myself,
Gurley
Rams money line is my pick.
There's a chance you could both be right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Wow. Amazing.
All right, Proxy.
You know, I know you guys keep saying it's not your pick, but it will be mine. I will be taking the under here, 63. I liked it, like Spike said, also when it was in Mexico City, and I don't really think the venue change matters all that much in the sense of how many points will be scored. It has to be so exact. Both teams have to be so on point offensively to hit an over like this on a consistent basis, and it's just not as likely. So I will already have the bet in the under 63.
That might be Saban's most favorite missed field goal.
Yeah,
He'll completely change the game.
yeah, I know what I'm saying.
This is a total game changer. Watch him score
Here
right
comes
here.
Tua, first play from scrimmage, bomb.
Let's hope for a pick, but
Give me 20 to 1 on a pick six right here. Actually, give me 200 to 1 on a pick six. All right, cool. Well, that is week number 11 in the Picks and Chatter. It is time for bold predictions, and I'm not 100% sure Proxy's ready to make his yet. So, Spike, you're going to start us off.
So I'm going to take a bold pick that I should have actually taken 2 weeks ago, and that is that we have a winning quarterback throws for under 150 yards. Was that bold enough for you?
Well, Proxy has to accept. He's making my picks.
Okay.
I accept as well. So
Proxy.
That's okay. Sure, that seems fine. I'm not going to. I don't.
Quarterback's going to win a game throwing for less than
They do
150.
throw for a lot of yards nowadays. But
it might be Stafford.
what about an injury? What if there's like an injury and somebody starts the game and
No, I
throws
think-
for 70 yards?
Yeah,
and
I
then
think he
somebody
has to
else
play the
comes
whole game, right?
Yeah.
So he has to play his team's last play on offense.
in? Okay, then I'm definitely in for that.
If he gets pulled for garbage time,
That doesn't count.
why would it count?
Okay, well, we have to set a parameter here.
3.5 quarters.
If they're down 35-0 in the first quarter and he gets pulled, he only
Then
has...
he's not going to win, and I already lost the thing.
It has
Oh,
to
that's
be a
right.
winning
Yeah,
quarterback.
he's right.
yeah.
It's a quarterback to win a game with 150.
3.5 quarters then.
Yeah.
Still feel like you should have some sort of parameter because you could have
I
a guy
said
get injured.
team has to play his team's last offensive down.
Right, but I'm saying that if it's a game where they're up like 10-3, like what I expect to happen in the Oakland-Arizona game.
Any starting quarterback's not getting pulled.
Could be RG3.
There are situations
Yeah.
where we have seen teams pull the quarterback and
be
put in
Dalton.
the backup to go into victory formation to end the game.
Okay, if they're doing victory formation.
That's what I'm getting.
All right. If a backup comes in and does victory formation, I'm okay with that.
All right.
There you go.
All right, Felipe. That's not getting old yet.
Bears will have a defensive score.
Not bold.
Not bold? No.
The Bears have 6 this year. Not bold. How about a Bears defensive lineman has a defensive score?
Ooh.
Nice.
Not sure about that, but I kind of like it.
Got to be bold.
Other Tony, go for it. We'll
Okay.
think of another.
Yeah, I'm prepared. My bold prediction will also ring in on one game specifically here. Oakland will win by double digits.
Oh, I love it. But, I mean, that's
Wow.
it's up to you guys. You guys have to agree to that.
I accept.
Yeah, why not? I'll take
We'll
that.
win by
10
10
or
or
more.
more.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep, and Alabama walked right down the field and scored.
Yep.
Yeah.
Take your time, but hurry up. Did he get it in? Did he get the...
I
Yep,
think
he got the
that's
foot
the
in.
one.
That's all he needs.
That's too bad.
Come on, Citadel, fight back.
If Citadel actually keeps this thing close all game, this might be enough to turn me into a college football fan.
Dude, look, college football's awesome.
Yeah, that is odd, Spike. I'm surprised. you're not a fan of this.
Northeast don't... Boston College always sucks. Northeast...
I
get it. I'm with you.
I didn't grow up with it, and every team that was worthwhile in New England, you know, UConn had a couple of good years, but who cares about them? Boston College is only good about once every 10 to 15
Once
years.
every Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
Would this be bold enough? A
Alright.
game ends in a tie.
A game ends in a tie?
Yeah.
No, Proxy makes my picks, so...
So that's after overtime and everything?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's unlikely enough. I'm fine. I don't know. Well, Spike, you can...
Yeah, no,
Seems fine.
We've only had
that's
2 this
exactly
year,
the
so-
line of thinking I was using, is that it's rare enough that it makes it a bold prediction for the week. I think I'm okay with that, yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, cool.
Perfect.
Remember when I almost had to pay token out for that tie on the Cleveland-Tampa Bay game?
Oh, yeah.
That was great.
That was scary. What was that, 20 to 1?
20 to 1 and
$5?
$5. I
Yeah.
remember I listened to that when I was like, yes, this is great.
And there was a safety in the game, too, which is odd that it went to overtime.
It was awesome.
So, nevertheless, all right, that is our NFL Picks and Chatter edition of the Vegas Squares podcast. Again, we want to thank our sponsors, 12-Ounce Sports Radio, VGK Pop Sockets, and ChaiPoker.com. Before we sign off here, does anybody have any thoughts, comments, concerns, donations on anything at all, really?
Just the charity event for the Chai Poker, I mean.
Yeah, cool. Especially look out for the podcast that we're going to do on that. Who knows how long that's going to go. Maybe we'll get Ben to do some NFL recap.
I would say, given our record on consensus picks, everybody should be fucking hammering Baltimore this week.
In fairness, we were semi-consensus. I still like Baltimore with RG3. But I have a proxy this week, so it's
Yeah.
nothing I can do.
Yeah, did you actually keep track how many picks what was your record as far as agreeing and disagreeing with Fake Token?
I think I agreed on like 3 of his picks. But the thing is, there were like multiple picks where I would not have picked. Like he took a total or he took a line that I would have taken the opposite. So I'll have to recheck that with him after the podcast is over.
Okay.
So, nevertheless, again, we want to thank the sponsors: 12 Ounce Sports Radio, VGK Pop Sockets, and ChaiPoker.com. I want to thank Proxy, Felipe, and Spike for being here today.
We're the most ethnically diverse podcast you will hear on 12
I love how
Ounce
his
Sports.
first name was Token, like Token black guy.
Yeah.
And now his name's Felipe, and he's the whitest guy I know.
Been working on my tan.
Yeah. He's got plaid shorts on and a Def Leppard tie-dye. I mean, it doesn't get any more white than that. And I bet you're wearing sandals when you're down. You have yes. All right.
always do.
Anyways, that's it for us. Good luck in your picks with the NFL. We will catch you again on 12 Ounce Sports Radio for the recap, and you can always listen to our podcast on VegasSquares.com. For Token Tony, for Tony Johnson, for Spike, I am Aaron. We appreciate you listening. Good luck in your bets, whether you tail us, fade us, or decide to bet everything else that we didn't. All right. We'll see you later.